So recently I did a reaction video to a video from Hidden Xperia called the Downfall of Battle Royale. And he mentioned extraction shooters, and in that reaction video, which you can watch at the end of this video if you want to, choice is yours, I mentioned the Division as being basically the first AAA game to being the first extraction game, period. So what up everybody, it's your boy News here. Hope what a brand new video, do all things algorithm likes, and let's get right into this. So Division 1 released in 2016. And with the Division 1 came a particular game mode known as Dark Zone. And at that time, we didn't know what to call the Dark Zone. We didn't know if we should call it just PvP or PvE versus PvE and things like that. We didn't know what to call it. We didn't call it a reaction shooter. We didn't call it an extraction shooter. That idea didn't really become a thing until Tarkov became popular. Not even Tarkov's release, but when Tarkov became popular, which was after the release of the Division. And even when it comes to Division, the Dark Zone was just a game mode within it, not a game by itself. But I still think when it comes down to talking about extraction shooters, which is quite popular, extraction shooters are becoming one of the most, might be the next craze. Battle Royale's dying out. People are kind of getting bored of the usual multiplayer style for shooters. So extraction shooters might be the next craze. Tarkov's just blowing up and getting more and more popular. Call of Duty just came out with its DMZ mode for Warzone. So it's becoming a thing, and more studios, if they are going to be watching Tarkov and looking at those play numbers for DMZ for Warzone to see if they should invest in it, you might start seeing Microsoft consider a DMZ mode for Halo. You might start seeing other games like Apex with Respawn and some other games that might be like, should we start looking at these extraction shooters? But you got to remember, like, what initially, when it comes to AAA titles, gave that idea out there. The Dark Zone is an extraction game mode, and it was basically the original. Now, yes, you might be like, well, this game had a mod for this other game that was kind of similar to what an extraction mode would be. I'm talking about AAA titles. I'm talking about games that are popular, games that generally had a lot of mass appeal, and the Dark Zone for Division was one of its biggest draws. And at that time, we just didn't know what it was. You know, it was literally the infancy of the idea of an extraction shooter in 2016. And quite honestly, if the Division released in 2023, it might be one of the best selling games right now just via the Dark Zone. Because if the Division released 2023, what we know about Tarkov, what we know about DMZ, they can use the Dark Zone as a massive selling point, and it would have worked because it's becoming the new craze. The new craze is becoming being extraction shooters. What made the Dark Zone what it was, and the uniqueness that it was? Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of any Dark Zone gameplay, because when I was playing the Dark Zone, you know, back in Division 1, it's in Division 2 as well, but it was at its height in Division 1. I wasn't a content creator, I wasn't a streamer, I didn't really do things other than just play video games. So I don't really have Dark Zone gameplay. So you might see like some clips in here from like trailers of the Dark Zone and things like that. But it'll mostly just be like regular Division 2 gameplay. But when it comes to the Dark Zone, the idea of the Dark Zone back then in 2016 was you and your friends, you're done playing, you reach the end game. This is the end game of Division. You beat the main story, you've done basically everything when it comes to side content in Division, and now you want to get the best loot. And the way you get the best loot in the game, the Dark Zone. You and your friends go into the Dark Zone. It's player versus AI. So there's AI in here, there's player in here, but it's all optional. The player interaction versus other players is optional. You could run through here and see other players, and there might not be a single bullet thrown at each other. You might go in there and it might be an all-out war and bloodshed and just ass and titties all over the place. It could be just pure nonsense. It could be pure chaos, or it could be very pleasant. You could go into the Dark Zone, find some great loot, some AI ass, and then extract, and you're out the Dark Zone. Part of the Dark Zone outside of like distraction was when you get the gear, the reason why you can't just get gear and then just, you know, have it is it had to be clean, because the Dark Zone's very contaminated. It was the idea of the Division, remember, is there's this massive virus that went around and just wipe people the fuck out. It sent us into a apocalyptic time period. The Dark Zone is basically an area of New York for the Division 2's the area of Washington DC, where the contamination is so high, no one goes in here other than people with certified clearance, so people who want to make that risk on going in there. And when you come out, you got to clean. Your weapons got to clean through a vendor and things like that. So it was a cool idea. At the same time, the anxiety that you would get playing the Dark Zone is the anxiety people love about Tarkov and love about playing DMZ. That anxiety of, I could go in here and just legit get my shit stuffed. If you're a solo player, you feared the Dark Zone. If you were a solo division player, unless you knew how good you were, like really good at the game, you feared the Dark Zone because you didn't want to go into the Dark Zone and just, you know, trying to be getting like nice loot and whatnot. And all of a sudden there's a full squad of other players looking right the fuck at you. And like, you're terrified. You're like, I don't know if they're gonna freaking like run a train on me or just let me freaking do my business. And they could literally just be like, who cares? Let that dude do whatever the fuck he wants. Or they could be like, yo, prepare that booty. Prepare that booty. That could happen. That could happen. They could just be like licking their fucking lips and just ready to go in on your ass. Or they might just let you freaking like walk by. And even that isn't like the most terrifying thing you might come across in the Dark Zone. You know, when you get to that extraction part, the extraction part of this game mode, aka you got the loot, you got what you need to get, and now you're trying to like put it onto the chopper and get the fuck out. There's a timer. It's not just attached to cargo and voila. There's a timer, and when that timer is going off, it sends out a beacon to every player in the fucking area that you're doing it. And now you gotta wait till that timer goes down for you to get your freaking loot and defend yourself from waves of AI who are trying to freaking stop you, because why the hell not? And there's other players who might just be like, let's go in. And they're sitting there and they're camping out in areas on rooftops and whatnot. They got sniper rifles and shit and everything, and they're just trying to take you out. Or you are that team. Or you were the team who's camping out at the extraction and when it's going to start extracting, and you're beaming players who are trying to freaking get the hell out the Dark Zone. That was the Division's Dark Zone in 2016. And people loved it. But the Division didn't become the massive success that Ubisoft hoped it would be. It's successful enough with Division 1 at least. Division 2 kind of went backwards. And at the end of the day, no one really talks about Division in the Dark Zone as being an extraction shooter. But what I explained to you is kind of like Tarkov. There wasn't any raids. There's raids in Division 2 now, but like the identity of like a Tarkov raid and identity of like the Dark Zone aren't necessarily the same thing. But you have Tarkov, you have DMZ, and it's like, this is a new genre of shooter that might pop off. And it's like, it's been a thing. Division has had it. Division 2 has it. Just those games weren't as popular, and that game mode wasn't really what it is now. Again, it's all about popularity. People weren't as into that competitive nature of what an extraction shooter is back then in 2016 and when Division 2 released. When Division 2 released, battle royales were at the peak, and that's what people were playing. When Division 1 released, people were more so interested in playing Call of Duty and Halo and Rainbow Six. They weren't really into playing an extraction shooter. But now people are getting into extraction. Now people are playing DMZ. Now people are playing Tarkov, and they want more of that. And unfortunately, the Division is just kind of like sitting here like, I don't know. And that's mostly because Ubisoft is tone deaf and a bunch of idiots. At this point, they should have announced like a standalone Dark Zone game. Like, Ubisoft is thinking about doing like a battle royale. They just canceled their Ghost Recon battle royale called Frontline because everyone was like, ew, gross. But like, Ubisoft is tone deaf. They're not thinking to themselves, we should release Dark Zone as a free-to-play by itself mode or game. Like, imagine that, Ubisoft. Imagine if you just came out with a brand new Dark Zone, Division Dark Zone extraction game, free-to-play, like, you know, DMZ. DMZ is part of Warzone. I don't think Tarkov's free-to-play. I never played Tarkov. I know I should. I'll check it out at some point. But I don't know if it's free-to-play though. So in this context of what Ubisoft could do, they could charge for it. They could charge, you know, 40, 50, 60 bucks for an extraction only game mode. I wouldn't, because if it's only just extraction, then you're kind of like limiting a lot of things there, and people aren't going to buy it because they're not spending full price $60, $70 for just basically what's a game mode in Division 1, Division 2. They just go buy Division 2. So you want to make it a free thing because people don't, people just be like, I'm just going to play Division 2. So it would be a decent idea to come out with a Division Dark Zone, mode for everyone to play that's free to play, to just to try to like get in on this extraction shooter meta that's happening when your game might have been the original, when you might have had the original like concept of a AAA extraction shooter. Like they probably stole the idea for someone, like again, so it's probably like a mod or some indie game that someone made that turned that indie game into an extraction shooter. But Ubisoft likely stole that idea and put it into a AAA title, and that's good enough to be like, you're basically the originator, air quotes, on AAA extraction shooters. And Ubisoft should cash in on this. That's a better idea than turning Ghost Recon into a goddamn freaking battle royale. Stop. We also don't need a Division battle royale. We also don't need any other battle royales. Ubisoft, don't join the battle royale craze. Take what you know though. The Dark Zone was good. You could come out with a Dark Zone only free to play model, and people would play it. Because again, when it comes to Tarkov, it's on PC and PC only. That gives you, Ubisoft, 2 free markets for a Dark Zone only game: Xbox and PlayStation. Some people don't want to play Call of Duty. Some people just hate Call of Duty. But Division is a third-person shooter. It's not an FPS. It's a third-person shooter. The Division is also very modern and gritty and dirty looking, like in a good way. It has that must to it, that realistic must to it that you kind of want to see. That's not this over the top battle royale or over the top kind of like shit Call of Duty is now. At the end of the day, Call of Duty is kind of over the top now. Like you got Neymar and Messi running around DMZ in Warzone. Like, some people don't want to deal with that. Some people want to just have like a more grounded shooter experience. And Division is that. Division is actually a really good game if you actually like go fucking play it and not listen to like some of the YouTubers who are just like, Division's bad. I played it for like 20 minutes and I didn't like it. It's not Destiny. I like Destiny better. So to wrap this video up, basically I'm ending on the idea that Ubisoft should come out with a free-to-play Dark Zone game for everyone to play on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, and that basically give Division its flowers, because Division might, I say might because maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm only counting AAA shooters. Like I said, there is likely a mod out there for indie game that made extraction shooters, but for Ubisoft and for AAA shooters, Dark Zone and the Division might have been the originator of a massive market playing freaking extraction shooters, and it deserves those flowers because it was great. It was a great experience. I love that experience now, and thinking about it makes me want to go play the Division 2 again. And that's how you sell games. You sell games that way. You sell games because that's nostalgia. The fact that Division 2 is an old game now means it's nostalgia. I'm getting nostalgia on wanting to play the Dark Zone again, and Ubisoft, you can cash in on that by just making a game. But with all that said, so if the video, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Follow me on Twitch, link in the description box below. Do all the things the algorithm likes, and I've been your boy Anubis. Y'all stay safe. You'll be constant one another. I'll see you when I see you. Stay safe, I'm out of here. Deuces.